this morning?
Good morning. I'm well. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. This is a new day and a new week on a Monday, and
It is.
this is our St. Patrick's Day week, I believe, right? This Friday is St. Patrick's Day.
Yes,
Lack of Irish to you,
yes, it is.
yes? How
To
how is
everyone.
Yeah, fascinating, right? So, uh, yeah, we're
Mhm.
going to be celebrating St. Louis, Missouri is a big one for sports. We have quite a few sports things that happen, and we break the record all the time. And we are also big on, I believe we are the second biggest, for Mardi Gras. And then now the St. Patrick's Day parade, those are, a lot of fun here. So we have a lot of, communities here that we go and have a lot of fun during St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patrick's Day,
To
early happy
you?
St. Patrick's Day to you.
Yes. To you
Yes.
too. And everyone who's watching. Mm.
Fantastic. So this month, our theme is aspiration.
Yes.
So what does that tell you?
Aspiration. Well, you know, to inspire, first of all, is about the breath for me.
Mhm.
So when we inspire, we're inspiring not just life and creation,
Mhm.
we're inspiring what we might bring into the world. So it really, that's what aspiration brings to mind for me. And it's life. It's a
Yes.
part of life. It's a part
Yes.
of being human and the beauty of being human because we have this capacity to use the breath, to use our faculty, to use our hearts to inspire and aspire
Mhm.
to to become. And so we dream our realities into being. And I feel that aspiration is a part of that.
Yes. Yes. And with that in mind, March, last month we celebrated love, and
Yes, we did.
January we celebrated renewal, and now we are starting our Vino and Vision 9 modules. The first module, which is aspiration. So the Vino and Vision has 3 dimensions on our coaching model. The 3 dimension is a strategic mindset, uh, self dimension, and relational dimension. So in a strategic mindset, and each of the dimensions have 3 modules. So in strategic mindset dimension, we have 3 modules: aspiration, vision, and dream. And each of them are very important for achieving goals, achieving result, and becoming successful. The difference between each of them are what is the question here, always conflicting, because aspiration is something that we you know plan for future, we design for future, and it's like we set goals for the future, right?
Right.
And we maintain the inspiration now, so we can build to achieve that goal. So in our Vino and Vision strategic mindset module, which can be applied for business, it can be applied for leadership, it can be also applied for life coaching. The business side of it, and as you know, I have been business coaching for a long time.
Mhm.
On the business side of it, we do a strategic plan, and in the strategy mindset dimension, we do these key components, which is aspiration, vision, and dream. So a little bit different from business coaching, but it can be also applied there. Now, when we get to our dream module, which will be May, we will be talking about a completely different area of strategic mindset. And that is, without dream, there is no strategy. So strategy have to be based on a dream. And also the vision, without a vision, no companies can survive, as you know. So vision and mission and
Yes.
strategy, those all apply. So aspiration is the first module. And in this module, we talk about setting goals,
Yes.
because goal setting is what our aspiration is all about, right? So what we want to achieve, what is our future look like? What are we missing, what we don't want to tolerate, what we want to accept, what we, those kind of multiple questions there that we face in everyday life. And in our aspiration module, we design what we call menu of my life. Right? Menu of my life, design the life I love, right? So designing the life that we love is what starts with the aspiration module. It's a fascinating exercise.
It is a fascinating exercise. I'm absolutely sure of it.
Yes, and we this coaching module totally focus on helping people design a life they want to love. As you can see in the behind me, you see the stock market up and down.
Yes.
You see the banks, and you recently have seen a bank failure. You see the economy and all those things. You see the government buildings and all those things behind me, right? It gives us an idea that life is a combination of a lot of things, challenges, joyful events. There is sad event, tragedy, a lot of things happen in life. But life without those is boring. Just think about that. You don't want a boring life. You want to have a challenging life. We do challenging things like, like for example, we do kayaking, and my wife does level 4 kayaking, which is even
That's pretty high level. Yes.
It's pretty high level compared to mine, which is
say.
level 0 most probably. So that is but the reason we do that is the thrill of it, because it's challenging.
But it also builds strength of
Yes.
body and the mind. So
Yes.
I feel that without these experiences that build strength, provided we have support and resources, which are very important, I feel. And this is from a mental, emotional, a physical perspective, but also in terms of community. I think that, then it goes into trauma because it's too much. But if we get the right threshold, it builds strength. And it's in building strength that we're able to aspire to be more than who we were yesterday, who we are today. And it gives us the motivation, it supports to push us towards being our best selves. So that's important, very important.
Yes, it is very much important. As you can see, without the thrill, there is no fun, right? There is no fun. So you have to have that excitement. You have to have good, bad, or ugly, whatever it is. Life happens.
Well, we need to find the why, the meaning and the why. And as humans, we have this ability to be able to reflect and become aware of the meaning or the why for us. That gives us that impetus towards becoming or doing or both, because it's through becoming the being and the doing. We can't divorce the two, they work together towards ourselves, both as individuals and collectively. So I think it's almost like it brings the aspiration, it goes back and forth. And the picture I have in my head is of an infinity symbol, because it goes in that figure eight and it's a continual. And when we have a break in it is when we have a potential trauma that we don't have support for, too much over the threshold.
Yes.
But if we can move past that, then, we have flow. And it's through that creative flow that we have the cycle of aspiring to create, to be, and to do, and then coming back towards ourselves, and so on and so forth. So I think that's a very important piece. Important.
It is. And the cycle of life. And when we are talking about aspiration cycle of life is, as you can see, that we have our childhood, then
Right.
we grow up to experience a world different than being a child, and then we are suddenly a teenager, and then from teenager we grow into a young adult, and you see the difference in every segment of our life changes
Yes.
us, impacts us, and we dream
Right.
big when we are much younger, and then slowly we get to the next level of life when we are working or doing business or entrepreneurship, and all those things come into play,
Right.
and we see the real side of the life where needs and all those other things impact us, right? And
Right.
when
Right.
all those things impact us, and this is the middle cycle of life when we call midlife crisis people face, and then we
Yes.
suddenly realize there is something need to happen, right? Something,
Right. Right.
and we impact that.
Right.
And and you can see that a lot of people at that age, when they're 55 or older, and they're trying to figure it out a new life, right? They're trying to design a new life, and they're trying to question what they love instead of
Right.
what they need to do. And that's where the shift happened in the middle of the life, is like, now I like to do more of what I love to do,
Right. Exactly.
and
Exactly.
that changes the need, and that changes also what we are looking for. And when we grow older and then come to retirement and another uh, side of our life, then we realize that now we have a totally different cycle of life that we are looking for, and at that time our need on certain things goes away, and we have a new things that evolve, right? So what do
It's
you think
true.
about that?
Well, what it brings up for me is wonderful. I'm so pleased, and my puppy was right here trying to be a part of the
Okay.
conversation. So if you
Okay.
noticed that a little bit, he might have been in the picture. Um, but what it brings up for me is that, there is a life cycle to aspiration, and it is very much connected to the development and milestones, which, according to Rudolf Steiner, who I really appreciate, there are 7-year milestones from childhood, from birth, that bring about different developmental experiences. And so this is very, very important to bring to light, to also understand, and to integrate so that we have an understanding of how we change, how we mature through our experiences and through the strengths that we develop, and how this affects the aspirations, the goals, the moving forward, and our approach to that. So I'm absolutely in agreement. It is very, very important um, as a part of moving forward and how we move forward.
Yes, and that's why the aspiration module is important in every segment of life, especially when you are in the middle of the midlife,
Yes.
when redesigning your life, when you have achieved so many things and you are thinking about, well, this is time to stop and think about what I love, what I
Yes.
want, what is about life that I was missing, right? So that's where we do this
Yes.
exercise called Menu of My Life, design the life I love. So
And it changes, doesn't it, through the
yes.
milestones, like you said.
Oh
And
yes.
so and it's, there is something that I've noticed sometimes when I'm consulting with my clients. They don't want to let the old go. And so, but the aspiration and the creativity and that thrill that you were talking about is lost because it's part of the past. They're ready to iterate and to move into something new, but there is a bit of resistance, and there is something to understanding that, moving through that with gentleness and compassion of self, and understanding the why. and then being able to switch around or recreate or come from a different perspective. And I think that's really key. It's key as we go through life, and even the business cycles. You were talking about how you can use this for leadership and how it's used also in strategic business support. So it's important to know that everything goes through different cycles, and as things mature, you start to incubate something new and aspire something new. And this is how it is. There's nothing wrong with that. And people sometimes get stuck at that mature stage when we've learned something, we want to hold that, but we're always pushed and to aspire for more, to grow. And so it's like the kayaking that you were mentioning before.
Yes, yes, and that also creates that newness, right? So we talked about the in the past we talked about changing nature of the environment, changing nature of the seasons, and how we face winter, how we face fall, spring, and summer, and all those, right?
Absolutely.
So in life we face the same thing. The picture behind me reminds us that life is not just us. There is a lot of other things that impact us, and one of the key things that we tend to forget is that no matter what we do, the future is designed already. We cannot change the future. We just have to make better of ourselves. The way it works is like right now we are looking at an asteroid supposed to hit Earth in, I believe, 2045 or something like that, which is at 2043. There's a possibility it will hit the Earth if we plan advance and hit it with something else and throw it out of our environment or our the path of the Earth. Then we save the Earth for a long time. But the question here is that it's coming. We know that, and we're planning for it, and we know there is a chance of it hitting the Earth. So that's the aspiration, is design the life I love based on knowing what we already know and doing what we can do to change that, right? Doing what we can do to change that. And that's where the goals are important. That's where actions are important. That's why achieving those step by steps are important. So in our menu of my life, we design the life we love in a way of looking at the things we don't like, don't dislike, don't things that we don't want to tolerate in 5 years from now or multiple years from now, right? Things we want to achieve in few years, things, so there is that short-term versus long-term goal setting, right? But every goal, big or small, starts with action. If we don't take action, we never achieve it because we don't go towards it. So we have to take that action. Like right now, we know the meteor is coming and we don't do anything. We just sit aside and say, let the meteor pass by, and it will, luck will have it. Irish luck will have it that it moves away. But think about that, for that strategy for a second. Do our best.
Yes.
Do our best means planning now, take action now, so the future comes different. And if we cannot do that, then just sitting idle is not going to change the future.
No, and being fluid, I feel, really supports. Fluidity allows flexibility, and I think the flexibility of the mind and fluidity in the moment is something that actually is inspirational itself, because we're not placing what we want to only to happen as we expect it to happen, but we're looking at the situation and being fluid so that we can actually iterate in the moment which I think is a very wonderful thing because it keeps us open. It keeps us fluid and not rigid in our mind and in our body and how we are approaching life, approaching our goals, approaching what we aspire to do, because there's always different ways of doing it. And the strength that we build, as we mentioned before, within the fluidity is key. At least that's what I've seen for myself and when I consult with my clients. And I see that your program is very much in alignment with that, which is wonderful.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
it is. Absolutely.
And as you can see that that what I just mentioned is the universal truth is we cannot control the future. That's universally known, because think
Yes.
about that. If something happens and that asteroid picks up speed suddenly and hits us early, things can happen.
Yes.
Just like COVID, nobody imagined the whole world shut down. That's going to happen, in March, April timeframe, about this timeframe in
Right.
2020. Nobody expected that in
Mhm.
2019.
Exactly.
We planned everything going to be just fine, right?
Yes.
So the future, even though it's unknown, it cannot be controlled. That's the universal truth, because it is what it is and it's going to happen. The only thing we can control is our action to face the future.
Yes.
Our action to face the future in a very designed way. I would say designed way because design is a word that is in our creative activity-based coaching. Creativity applies to design. We design life, right? So we design our life and we do the best to achieve it. We do the best to achieve it. And if we do the best, we will achieve it. And the other circumstances that we have around surrounding us, just like the picture behind me, life will happen as it is. But we do not, some people believe that, let the universe hit me, right? Well, the question here is not just don't do anything.
Yes. Absolutely.
Let the universe happen itself, and at the same time, you do what you can to face the future, right? You do what you can to face the future. So that's the only way. The other way is just to sit there and wait for the asteroid to hit us.
I was going to say it reminds me of that particular
Right.
perspective. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if anybody really wants to do that.
Right.
But I feel like, having programs like yours and coaches is very important at this point. Let's talk about that because it gives that support. It gives the support to grow in safety and nurturance because
Yes.
we when we have tools and we have support, it is, I wouldn't say easier, but when something does happen that is out of the ordinary, that puts us in a position where we have to pivot, when we have the support of community, we have knowledge, we have tools and resources, we can find ways in a smoother way to be able to navigate that. And so, what I think it does, it takes us out of the fear. And I
Yeah.
think that's important for aspiration to happen because it's part of the creative space is to be in a non-fearful state where when we do pivot, we're doing that from a space of clarity, in the knowing of who we are, what our capacity is. And that comes with the building of strength. So you can see how what we were talking about right at the beginning of this live session, we're coming full circle around as we're coming to the half hour or the hour. Um, and so it's very beautiful to see how this is evolving by itself as we're speaking. And yet, I think this is a very important point at this juncture.
Yes. And that is, I agree with that completely, is the dynamic nature of life, right? So
Yes.
dynamic nature of life, we demand things from others, at the same times we do not take actions to face the future ourselves. So instead of that, the opposite angle, that is coaching angle, that we come from is called accountability.
Yes.
Accountability resides with actions. Accountability resides with what I can do to change the future, right? This is what accountability within me. So everybody can do the same thing, accountability within.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you can impact the future, just like the asteroid is coming, and we can change our actions to make sure we can face the challenge, right? So devote our resources to that. But if we miss the target, an asteroid hit us and we are destroyed, let it be, because that's the future. But we can at
What
least
else
say
to
we have,
do?
right, we can at least say we have tried our best, right? We have tried
Mhm.
our best. And that's the key of any coaching, is awakening the inner self to
Yes.
understand that accountability reside with each of us, and we cannot ask anybody else to provide us what we can do. Now, support is a angle that we also come from: support, charity, and other things that we talk about. There is a time for social support. There is a time
Yes.
for social community that are helpful, and we are part of those community, right? We have to be engaged, and we have to help each other
Yes.
by developing that. And one of the concept that I developed, called we concept, is care wisdom.
Yes.
And I talk about that in YouTube videos, so people can look it up. But care wisdom is reside in that caring is bigger than anything else.
Mm.
If we care, then everything works. Everything works. So aspiration module, that's what we build. We build inner self to fight the future, and inner self to, and I will replace the word fight with face the future.
Mm.
Inner self, develop the inner self to face the future properly. And by doing so, we can change the future. And there is a possibility of having that, even though future cannot be changed if we, like we said, but we can impact the future, definitely.
I agree. And there's something that came to mind when you were talking about the fragility of life.
Mhm.
That, every day is a gift. When we awake in the morning, it's a gift. And so there is the responsibility of being accountable for being the best that you can be in that moment, which is also what you were explaining from an individual level, and then the charism um, at the collective level, have being accountable to self and to other. And this, as we develop through the different milestones, there's more of this, because we do need to develop the I, like we were talking about before.
Mhm.
And so it does develop and it matures over time based on the experiences that we have, that I call growth points. They build the strength. So that fragility really, I think, I would like to suggest it aspires us to reflect and become aware of where we're able to do better, to be accountable, and
Mhm.
aspire towards the charism, the togetherness, but also as an individual, not to forget that we are individuals as a part of the collective, and not one or the other that's truncated. So I do feel that's what that brought to mind for me.
Yes, and that is what I believe personally is 100%.
Yes.
100% is charism. Is
Yes.
you have to, when you are a community, you have to believe in 100%. You will have bad, you will have good, you will have
Yes.
ugly, you will have everything. You will have sinners, you will have no sinners, you will have saints, right?
Yes.
Angels and whatever in their community is. But
Mm.
uh, until we can overcome that, uh, that everybody counts, and make that in our own belief system, that everybody
Mm.
counts. We are together 100%. There is no 99%. There is no 1%. there is that 100%, and in 100% you have rich, poor, and everybody included in between.
But
Our goal is to make sure that everybody is taken care of, and that's the key. Is the careism is we care for each other.
and I feel that you're right, and it comes from understanding, understanding that we're all reflections of each other.
Yes.
And being human does mean that there is dark, there is light, there is partial dark and light, there is mix, there is all of these parts, the shadow parts, you know, what you were talking about, but then the light parts too. But we're all reflections of each other, and we do experience different events and situations, and yet the emotional experience and the meaning often is very similar. That's the collective shadow. That's the collective and the charism that you're talking about, to understand we're all reflections of each other and no one is different to somebody else. It's just a different experience,
Yes,
but
it's a
very similar
different.
underneath meaning. Sorry.
It's a different experience, and this is the highest inclusive environment you can find.
Yes.
Because it's 100%. There is no more than 100%, right?
That's true.
The highest inclusive environment you can find, where everybody is counted, and it's counted such a way that we care. We are not in a way of divided but equal, that I hear a lot of time. We are not divided. We are collective. We are equally shared. And now when we develop that mindset of everybody matters and 100% equality, is the most inclusive environment we can create, no matter where it is. It can be in a corporation, it can be in a government, it can be in politics, and any segment of our life. If 100% is counted, and believe it or not, in 100% there is no war, because we don't fight against each other. We don't destroy each other. We build each other, and that's the key essence. We have to take it away from this segment when we do have limited time.
I know. And you know, I wanted to just say really quick that it's in separation that we lose our aspiration.
Yes.
So, yes, I'm with you.
Yes, it's and that's one point I like to stress very well, that in careism there is no war, because war divides us. War don't bring us together.
Yes.
And we need to make sure that we care, no matter who we are and no matter who everybody is, So that's the main essence of life, is caring for each other, and we can see a different world from that perspective. So with that said, we are given limited time to impact in this world, and I know we have to say that limited time is right now. We were having so much fun, right?
I know. I really enjoy these every single month. I'm excited. So thank you.
And then
for
next month we'll come back and look at the vision, which is how to build your aspiration with a vision. And vision takes us a different angle. So we'll be talking about that. So
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Milu.
Well, thank you, Chiara, for your time and your contribution to this world.
Of course.
And I'm pretty sure somebody somewhere we are impacting, and that even if it is only one person who get impacted by our talk, we are all for it.
Yes, that's my greatest wish.
Fantastic. So have fun and enjoy life. And don't worry about the asteroid. Just be prepared.
No. As you can see, my background is appropriate for that.
You are already looking out for it.
I'm ready for it. Look, I'm pivoting myself.
Very nice to see you, and I look forward to seeing you next month.
Me too. Thank you.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.